Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Becoming Influential, the chat show for modern marketers. My name is Courtney Dow. I will be hosting this episode alongside Mikalena Knight. And tonight's topic, where are your true fans hiding? Creating connection and community. We are so honored. We've got some incredible guests with us, and I'd like to give a really big welcome to Blue Diamond, mum of 3, online community creator, Sara Gordon, and Blue Diamond online course creator and the crazy woman who is always awake before 5 a.m., Weise. We will share their Instagram tags in the comments section for you so that you can find them and connect with them. But now I'm going to pass over to Mikalena so we can dive into the juicy stuff. Let's go.
So because tonight's topic is all about finding your true fans, the true fans that are going to come and roll with you and buy your oils, I'd love to start by asking what that means to you. What does having true fans mean to you? And I'll direct that first to Sara.
Hello guys, thank you for having me. This is probably my favorite topic, so watch out. For me, when I think of kind of finding my true fans, I guess I look at that like finding people that trust in my knowledge, or that people that vibe with my true lifestyle. I think that's really, really important. And bringing people in who want to actually learn from me as I am. And so for me to do this, that kind of looks like, consistently presenting what lights me up. Like if I'm presenting for me what lights me up, then I know that I'm going to start pulling in people that are actually meant to be in my space. And I think acknowledging when I'm deviating away from that. So when I am like spending time like consumed by noise that's on the internet, things that other people are doing, and finding myself influenced by that, or in a space where I'm feeling like, oh my God, like I'm not doing it that way, pulling myself back in and understanding that actually deviates me from finding my true people.
Thank you so much. Now, Hayley, I would love you to answer that same question. What does having true fans mean?
We are totally on the same wavelength. I really truly believe in that quote, like find your tribe and love them hard. Like they're really the people who want to love and get to know the truest form of myself. I think the struggle with this is actually knowing who the truest form of yourself is. And it's like, that's awesome, Hayley, but I don't even know who that is. And that's part of the journey. And that's, I guess, the biggest growth that I love doTERRA has taken me on, is finding out who I actually am, right? doTERRA has always rewarded me the more I am myself. And those people that are looking for the truest form of me are my truest fans. And we have to trust that those parts that maybe we've disowned or hidden, or maybe not even wanted to acknowledge ourselves, once we actually accept those with compassion and love and honor who we truly are and how we want to show up and what that looks like, those people are going to come out of the woodwork. So if you don't feel like you're surrounded by your truest fans right now, check in with yourself and just see how authentic you truly can be with the world around you. I love the advice that Sara just gave there about that, tapping into what lights you up. I'm totally obsessed with human design because this has really helped me find those truer elements of myself and own them and trust them. And the more I'm doing that, the more I'm finding these people.
And I think knowing you can change as well, that's okay.
100%.
Like you do not have to present the same way always.
No.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when we first start our business, we tend to have those who love us most stepping forward. They're naturally our true fans, our family, our friends, those we already have connection with. But as you got to the end of that process, how did you start stepping away from selling to those you already know, those you already have influence with, and start to expand your network and start to connect with people that you didn't already know before you started doTERRA? So Hayley, I'll get you to answer that one first.
This is a really good question because a lot of people start by sharing with friends and family. I don't know if I honestly did. I think I found people who just needed what I had. They needed the solutions what I had. And some of them I knew and some of them I didn't, but I was looking for the pain points and responding to those pain points in people. Like my My mum, I had to beg for her to enroll. I think it was Christmas time. Anyway, I think I just literally had to beg for my mum to enroll. My sister has still 6 years in, has never enrolled with the oils, right? Okay, so it's not always going to be our friends and our family who are going to help and support us on this journey. And I'm actually okay with that because, you know, so sometimes when we're on this personal development journey, we change. And that means the people around us change, or it means that we might be the black sheep and the people that we currently are hanging with aren't actually interested in this lifestyle and this future vision that we have for ourselves, right? So it is about going back to literally the last question we just asked. Who is that authentic person that I'm looking for? And where are the people that want to see them and those people that I can help? And I had to do a lot of work about releasing some blocks around that, right? The other thing I also did was I didn't really just always focus on who I knew, but I focused on who they knew. You know, it's not always about like my network, it's about their network. And so even if I could help 10 people, help one person each, then that's like completely like magnified my reach, right? I had this feeling that if every single person in my team enrolled one person, my team would double overnight. Okay. And so it's not always about us, it's about them. And that's so much of what we're here to do is to serve.
That's amazing.
Does that help?
That mindset is amazing. And I can feel there's so much of a shift ready to happen just in that perspective alone. So Sarah, I'd love your perspective around this. How did you start stepping away and expanding your work?
So mine's a little bit different, which is awesome, because the epic thing about this business is that it doesn't matter what Hayley and I say to you tonight, everyone's going to experience everything differently. And it's the best thing in this business to hear from everybody, even if you hate what they say, because it helps create that pathway for you of, you know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know what makes you comfortable. So mine's completely different. I enrolled the heck out of my friends and family. I enrolled every one of those people. I was like, you're enrolling, you're enrolling, you're enrolling. Right. And I'm like, I've enrolled all of you. I've enrolled my high school friends. I've enrolled everyone. I have no one to enroll. Right. And for me, it was two kind of things. It was one, a mindset shift in, this is a hobby page. Or what are you doing, Sarah? Oh, I'm just working on my little hobby page. Or I'm just spending some time on doTERRA or whatever it was. And I was like, actually, Sarah, do you want this to be a business? Like, have you decided that this is going to be a business? And if I'm deciding that this is going to be a business, then what does a business do? And so for me, my mindset and my talk to myself was the first thing to change. So that was around, this is not a hobby, guys. This is my work. This is now my job. It might not be my full-time job. It might be the job that I'm dreaming of, but it's my job, and it's going to take priority in my home alongside my kids, alongside my husband's work, alongside else is a priority in my home. That my second shift was super practical. It was like, it sounds a little bit weird, right? But like, I remember sitting there thinking to myself, if I'm in a boardroom full of brands, right, what's Mama Revolution? Like, what is that? How would I physically describe Mama Revolution? Because right now it's just a hobby page. Like, what are my bones? What are my foundations? Like, what do I offer? Like, what does this look like? What experience do I want people to have? What do I sell, right? And getting super clear on that for me was another thing. Like sometimes people think shifting into a business means you've got to go get a website. You've got to go print some business cards. Like, all of that to me is fluff. Like, I got website at Blue Diamond, guys, and I barely use it right now because I'm really rubbish at that. That's fine. I'm working on it. It's in that category. Okay. But for me, it was like, okay, I need to get clear on growth publicly for Mama Revolution and growth privately for my community. You have to actually have both. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket and just grow everything publicly and have nothing to back it up when these customers come into your community. You actually need to sit down with that dual focus and go, right, what am I doing? Where am I growing? What am I going to offer people? How do I present myself to brands? When people come across my public space, what does it look like? Am I shareable? Am I noble? What am I offering? These are the kind of things that all super practically shifted me into a space where I started enrolling strangers. And that's the best.
Can I just add something to that? Because that was epic. Is that I think one thing that's common for both is none of this happened inside of my comfort zone.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Wherever
way out of my comfort zone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I will also say is that the people that I love the most in this world, my closest friends, my dearest friends, I didn't know before this journey. And I think that's such hope for all of us, is that we might have our best builder or our bestest friend that we haven't even met yet. And we can meet them on this journey because we're outside of our comfort zone and because we're meeting a need and serving the community that we're in. And that will attract the right people to us when we do that right.
I love that so much, Hayley. And so much of what both of you said has resonated with me and my journey with this as well. And I think, one of the really important points there is talking about really getting clear on who you are and what message you want to share, because that's kind of those first stepping stones to building really authentic connection. And so when it comes to attracting new people into your community, how would you say that you begin to build that actual connection? Because it's so much more than just meeting people and adding names to a list, right? It's building connection and building relationships. So I'll throw it back to you, Sarah.
So for me, I'm going to take this predominantly from an online point of view. I think Hayley might give you a little bit more in person. So for me, not obviously, I've predominantly built my business online. And this is something for me. When I saw this question, I was like, yes, I want to talk about this. Because this for me is something I literally think through daily. Like that connection building initially with people is so important. And I really feel like some of the questions I ask myself and things that I feel like people might be missing is I've asked myself multiple times, and hang with me, it's weird, but listen, it's, if my social media platform was a person, would I have a conversation with it? And I know that's a really weird thing to ask yourself, but like so many times I see people's social medias and I think like, I wouldn't stop and have a conversation with you right now. I don't mean that meanly. I mean, seriously, we forget that like our stories, our videos, they're supposed to create conversation. They're supposed to create engagement. The key to building that like initial engagement and connection is like asking yourself, can people actually reach out to me and connect with me with the information I'm giving? Like, am I leaving space in what I'm presenting so that people can ask me a question? Am I giving away too much information so that people actually don't need to ask me anything? Therefore, you don't have that initial connection or engagement point because you have this amazing space that has so much information on it. Like you can look at your space and you're like, every single question's answered. You answer every single thing perfectly in your stories. Why does anyone need to reach out to you? And I think we forget we're supposed to be having a conversation. We are not supposed to be talking to ourselves on social media. And so for me, that initial connection is all about consistently imagining I'm having a conversation. And I think your stories and your presentation, particularly on social media, will physically change when you realize you need to invite people in to have a conversation with you.
Amazing. Hayley.
I'm going to go old school here because, I totally build face to face. And one thing I want to pass on to you guys, which really helped me, because it is all about having the confidence to strike up a conversation with someone, particularly when you don't necessarily know them. You're literally approaching someone you don't know. You're sitting down next to someone in an airport or an airplane, right? And it's actually having the courage to have that conversation. It's like, but what am I even going to talk about? And this acronym really helped me. And I want to pass this on tonight because I think it's perfect with that face-to-face connection. And it's just FORD, FORD. And it's just basically I run through these 3 topics and have I actually asked a question in these 4 areas to get to know someone, to see if there is that connection. And it's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And so basically it's like, oh, hi, oh, you've got like, how are your kids? Or, all of these basic kind of conversational points. It's like, what do you do for work? But it's asking them. It's not them asking us questions. We want to actually delay them asking us questions for as long as possible because people love to talk about themselves. So the best way for you to build rapport and build relationship and trust with someone is to get to know them. And that's through listening and asking questions more so than talking about what you do. Because at some point in those 4 questions, as in talking about their family, talking about what they do for work, talking about what they do for fun or activity or sport, and talking about what they desire in life. And yes, I could actually get through all of these 4 things in a 45-minute plane ride from Adelaide to Melbourne, right? It can happen. And of course, we had this amazing connection. We swapped, details. We stayed in contact. She got oils. All of this stuff manifested, but I was so interested in her first that she wasn't interested in me. And no one is going to want to know what we know until they know how much we care about them. And I think that's the difference when we're building, anything, connecting with people online. And face to face.
That's very interesting too, because online, that's actually significantly harder to do.
Yes.
Online, I truly believe that today is because of 2 things. I also offer people solutions. So in communicating my point of view, I'm consistently opening up conversations. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be about a pencil. It's quite often not about oils. And you're having those conversations with people that are, someone will message you and go, oh, I think the same because A, B, C, D. Cool. I'm having a conversation with you about your child, about the pencil, about whatever it is. It's not about oils. So often my sell comes from everything that's not oils. It comes from all that conversation. It comes from everything else. And then once the sell is brought up, we've got that rapport, we've got that connection, we've had those conversations. They are in that, no trust situation. They're like, oh, she's not going to lie to me because we've got this beautiful connection. So important online to actually dial into how you're connecting and imagine it almost like you're in person, because you've actually got to replicate some of that stuff.
So this is a journey. We started talking about how we create connection, and there was a lot of visioning and getting to know what you want to say. We've come into creating the connection. Now I want to ask you both about ways that you maintain and nurture that connection with the people who are in your network who may not be ready to purchase, because as we've just shared, this is not all about the enrollment. So how do you nurture that process of getting to know someone and developing a relationship, which may or may not end up with enrolling, although that's our intention eventually, let's be honest. So let's start with Hayley.
Yes, and just a point of that, it's like, it's not a matter of if, but when. Like I've had people enroll with me who literally started following my journey 6 years ago, and they've only just enrolled with me this year, right? Everyone will come when they're ready, as long as we stay consistent and we keep showing up. And I think for me, the way that I continue to maintain those relationships is, one, I need to know what they need. So by having those conversational questions in mind, even just from the beginning, I've got that memory bank, right? But I need to store that somewhere. And I think one thing that slowed me down in my business is feeling like I had to have all of these post-it notes and things like scattered everywhere of all of these warm leads, right? I didn't want to lose any of them, but I also didn't want to attract any more, because how could I if I didn't have a system to hold them? And so I use Enroll Pro. There's a free version of it online. It's created by doTERRA, wellness advocate. And it's phenomenal to house that information out of your brain into a system, so you don't have to remember it all, which means you can keep growing the people that you're influencing at that time, right? So that's step one. We can't hold the memory of all of these people, but those people that we do know, I can actually go in there and put tags to each of them. So it might be animals or people or sore back or something, right? And so if something's coming up that they can benefit from, then I can connect with them with an intentional reason. The other thing is just basically all I'm doing, and the whole reason I'm doing this for, is I'm just looking for an excuse. I'm looking for an excuse to reach out to them. And sometimes that might be a 20% off offer, but generally it's not. It's not normally a sales reason. It's normally a gift of some sort. Like, I saw this and thought of you, or if I know that she's interested in a certain topic, or even if she's like, I don't know, we're talking about it's the star signs the other day. It's like, even if I knew she was a Gemini and I sent her a meme on Gemini, right? That's maintaining a connection. And it means that she's going to then also see things that I'm doing online, because we're communicating in the background, right? So there's all of this kind of stuff. And I think this is just as important with our community that have already enrolled. Maybe they're not on loyalty rewards yet. So they're kind of like, they're not necessarily in the journey, which is just as important to maintain those relationships, even if not more so. And I love nurturing everyone in my team through an excuse, and that's just by creating things that I know that they will use. So if I know that there's a need out there in my team, I'll create something that they can, it may even just be a blend, and put it into Canva, and it's like, hey, I made this, I thought you would love this, and I sent it to them, right? It's just an excuse to contact them, and they're like, oh, she thought of me, right? And that's really it. Like, honestly, I've got this little plaque in front of me, and it says, give the world the best that you have, and the best will come back to you. I think if we've just got that mindset of service and showing up to support and care for the people in our sphere of influence, and I know that will come, that's the whole topic of what we're doing here, it'll always be rewarded.
So I'll jump to Sara in a minute, but I've got as an extension on this one. How do you hold the intention to the sale but not be attached to the sale? Because there's a very subtle difference. So could you speak into what you believe about that?
I'll be completely honest. Like everything is the intention is for the sale, like everything. But like the fact that I'm not attached to it, I'm just being a nice person because I'm a nice person. But it's also, like Sara said, this is my business too. So it's my job to connect with people, but I'm not doing it from an inauthentic space. And I think that's the most important thing, because people will pick that up a mile away, to be honest. And so many people have done it from a disingenuous place, and it gives us a bad name, and it's crap. Sorry, I don't like when that happens.
No.
I'm actually laughing because I'm like not even joking. I could show you the piece of paper. The actual first thing I wrote on this question was unattached from the sale. Like without doubt, so funny. But like for me, again, so I'm coming at this from a social media point of view, right? So a little bit different to Hayley, some same, but it's slightly different. So for me, when I think about maintaining and nurturing that connection for people who aren't necessarily ready yet, for me, it's you need to, on social media, like you would have a conversation in person, you need to make content. You need to put stuff out there. You need to be there. Like that is what's actually nurturing that connection, right? Like you need to be seen. It doesn't matter if you're seen by 5 people on your follower list or 25,000. It literally doesn't matter. We know that in doTERRA, if you sign up one person, it's like, yes, my business is growing. This is amazing. You don't have to have 25 people a month for your business to grow. Growth is growth, right? So if you're being seen by 20 people, I'm scared to keep the 20 people in a room. That's a lot of people, right? So you can have influence in that space. And I think it's really important. If anybody has followed me for years, you will know 2 things. I'm very unattached from the sale, whilst I know I absolutely am going to sell. No issue with the fact that I'm going to sell, right? But I'm completely unattached to it because in my mind, it's coming. That's my attitude. It's always coming. That's fine. I don't need to attach myself to it. But I treat my business, even though it's online, like a bricks and mortar business. And I think that's really important for people who aren't ready yet, right? Because you can walk past the shop 17 times and not go in it. What makes you go in at the 18th time is what the important part is, right? And so for me, you've got to realize creating a small business from the ground up is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. It is so goddamn hard to create a business, guys. It's supposed to be hard. Otherwise, everyone would do it. You have a look at people creating business, bricks and mortar online. Like, it's something you have to turn up to. You have to turn up to every day, and you have to be the first person that these people think of for whatever your niche is, whatever it is you're on your page talking about. Like, I want people to know who are looking at me. When I have a low tox question, I'm going to go ask Sara. When I have an oil question, I'm going to go ask Sara. I might not be ready to buy, but Sara is there waiting to connect with me, because Sara knows that the time you think you're going to buy oils, you're going to buy them from me. And I think that's so, so, so important. It's honestly, it's the time between the sale that nurtures those customers, right? And that's something that people just forget, right? And so when you're online, like, instead of being in person and say asking a question online, you're going to create content, because that's going to open up that patch for questions, answers. That's going to open up that conversation, you know what I mean? Instead of obviously being in a room.
I've just got one more question for you, Sara. How much stories
Yep.
You use the word stories. I just want to know, how much do stories influence the way you connect with people, your personal stories?
So in my head, this is how I view it, which who knows if this is right. This is what I do. Like my page, when people hit my page, I want them to be able to see, cool, this is what she's about. But my stories is like, have at me. Like, this is me. This is my brand. This is what you're going to know. I genuinely believe in 2022, people are literally not investing in a logo. They're investing in a person. Like, people want to spend their money with people. It's so, so important. And this, like, you'll hear me say a lot, like, people need to know who you are. They need to know what you stand for. That doesn't mean you have to present like me politically or somebody else and share every aspect of your life. There's so much that's happened to me in the last 2 weeks that no one on here has any idea about. I'm very selective with what I share, but people know who I am. Like, they're not getting a surprise in 2 weeks' time and being like, oh, Sara thinks this. I like all of a sudden don't vibe with her. You need people to know who you are, and you need people to want to invest in you and your business and your why.
Beautiful.
Love that so much. It's the person behind the brand. That's who people are connecting with. So I kind of, for a second, I just want to stay on the topic of communication, but I do want to just swing it the other way, specifically with something that Hayley mentioned. So being in the network marketing industry and being on social media, I'm sure that every single one of us has received one of those totally unsolicited, hey girl messages, the ones that give our industry a little bit of a bad rap. And I will be the first to admit, in my early days, I may have sent some myself, but I know that here, like, we're talking a lot about modern network marketing, and in that we really do try and step away from those cold calling type strategies, and instead what we are leading with is real connection. So I'd love to ask you both, like, aside from, you've spoken about how you initially build connection, how you maintain that connection. But when it comes to instigating those initial conversations about oils, what does that look like for you? Let's go, Sara.
Oh, awesome. Let's just do this. So for me, oh gosh, that's like the absolute no. Like, anybody in my community, anywhere in this space, like, that's just, yeah, a flat no. Having those cold conversations for me is something that I find, look, there's a 1% chance that lands well. And for some people, actually, I do realize that some people go into businesses and sell bits and pieces, right? But that cold land in someone's inbox has just never been part of my space. And I think for me, I'm actually, and this is going to be different to other people, I'm not really ever instigating the oil conversation. It is always through me showing, and that's a really, really different space to be in, right? This is a lifestyle. Like, I shouldn't have to instigate this conversation in my space currently when I'm online if I am actually showing my lifestyle consistently. People should be reaching out, or I should be inviting them in a way that doesn't feel like I'm just looking for the sale. So for me, this stuff is really about, I might be sharing something on toxins in mattresses, and then like Jane reaches out to me and she's like, hey, like, did you say what's a good mattress brand and how can I clean it, right? So she's instigated that conversation. I'm not having an oil conversation, but at the same time, I'm not scared to sell. Do you know what I mean? So, hey, Jane, that's great. Here's a mattress recommendation. Did you also know you can use lemon and tea tree for detoxing this, blah, 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 right? That doesn't feel like a yucky sell. That feels like me just giving her a piece of information. She's then going to go, oh, I either, that's great, thanks so much, Sara. Oh, hey, I don't have essential oils. Can you tell me a bit more? Yes, I can tell you a bit more. It's super simple. Like, it doesn't have to be this big, like, thought out interaction. It can be me genuinely, again, offering someone a solution. And I think so the more I'm turning up and the more I'm showing my true lifestyle, and this is where, guys, if you're not using your oils, if you're not living this lifestyle, it comes through. It's so obvious. Like, you can never, you will not do this business, right? If a part of this is, a piece of this isn't your lifestyle. You have to have, it doesn't have to look like everyone. Like, I might use it for my children, you might use it for your pets. I don't know what else other people do with them, whatever. It's different for everybody, but showing up in that authentic space of what what you use them for will actually stop you having to have those cold conversations. I'm confident in not having to cold sell because this is my lifestyle and I'm showing it.
Yeah. Being the example, people are drawn in, their interest is sparked. Hayley, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's so true. I think so much of how things have manifested for me in this business, when things have been easy and like they've just flown, it has been when I've waited. I've waited to respond to situations that need my input. It's not me sticking my nose in where it's not wanted. And I think that's never going to land for probably 90% of the population. There's probably about 10% of the population who could instigate something, but most people have to wait or they have to respond to something, right? And it's about, so that it is that attraction marketing, what Sarah's talking about is that attraction marketing. I think there's another conversation which I'm just going to quickly touch on here. And it's when we're maybe looking or really keen to work with someone. Maybe there's someone out there that we're really wanting to work with or be a partner in our business with. And I really love an indirect approach with this, right? So of course you want to, have a relationship with these people. That's probably why you know them and want to work with them. But normally if I go to these people, it's not with the opportunity, but it's for asking for advice. Right? It's asking for like the skill set that that they have that you want in the business, witnessing that, recognizing that, inviting them to share their opinion on something within your business so that like, actually, this is something that I could totally do. Like if I went to someone and said, do you know anyone with this skill set? Like I'm looking to expand my business and I know that you're really influential in the space or you know a lot about X, Y, and Z. And so I thought you probably aren't interested, but maybe you might know someone that is interested, right? And so I'm not actually approaching them directly, but this indirect approach would either one, potentially get me a lead, or two, they will be interested, right? And that's probably the only time that I would maybe instigate something, but it's not necessarily in the approach that is directly.
All right, we're going to do 2 little quick fire questions for you, and then we're going to wrap it up. So question number 1, and we'll go to Hayley first. What would you say to someone who thinks that they have run out of people to connect with?
You haven't.
Lies.
It's impossible. Sorry. Like you have to leave the house, I think, or you have to like, as in physically get out there, like you have to communicate with people or be visible with people, but no, that's impossible. Absolutely impossible. It's just, no.
Yeah.
So do you want me to give you advice as to how to find them? It's everything we've just talked about. Like you're probably just inside your comfort zone. So how do you love to help people, and where are those people that need that help, right? And go put yourself in that situation so that they can see you and ask you a question or invite you in.
I was about to say, I just saw a comment from Sim. I was like, there's like literally, is it 1 or 2% of homes in Australia have oils? Like
2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
Flat lie. Like there is millions of people out there that need oils in their life. Like we know this already. Like it is the problem in that sentence is not our customers, put it that way. And that's just the honest truth. The problem is us in that sentence. And we've put up a block, we've set limitations for ourselves because there is actually an abundance of customers.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, we're going to finish up with this really powerful question. I would love your perspective, your unique perspective on what does influence mean to you, starting with Hayley.
This is such a good question. And I really thought about this one because I just feel like it's when someone truly cares enough about your opinion and listens to what you have to say. Like what an honor. And we all have these people in our life. Every single one of us. We have someone that cares about our opinion and listens to what we have to say. And that is influence.
I love that. Now, Sarah, I'm so curious about what you're going to say on this one.
I'm like so practical. I'm a practical human being. And so for me, when I think about this, for me, I think if you want to be influential, or if you want to, from what influence actually is your ability to resolve a problem or help a pain point for someone. If you can create change, you can create influence. And it's that simple.
Beautiful. All
Mic
right.
drop there.
Mic drop.
Full perspectives from two different layers that actually are both highly relevant to everything we've spoken about. So Sara and Hayley, thank you so much for being with us today. I know I really appreciate everything you've said. I have received so much, and thank you so much for sharing generously with this wonderful community that we have. To all of you listening out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying here through this journey in this call, Becoming Influential. What a powerful call this was. This is the chat show for modern marketers. Join us on our next episode where we are going to talk about why my community purchases every month. We have another couple exciting guests, Adam Barrelay and Kirsty Miller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. I'm just going to open the chat box because we couldn't see that during the call. But now, oh my
God.
So stick around because now you get to ask questions. You get to be with Sara and Hayley for another 20 or so minutes, and you get to pop your questions in there. So it's going to be a bit hard to go through every one of the ones that has come before, but pop questions you have in now. We're going to answer them from top to bottom. So first in, best dressed. So go pop them in now, and we will start asking them to these two beautiful, very intelligent, very wise women here.
I'm loving the chat, by the way. I missed the whole thing while we were recording.
Okay. We've got a question here. It says cold call. What does that look like without a social media presence from a total beginner's point of view? So just to clarify. Oh, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go.
No, clarify.
Oh, I was just going to say, clarifying, are you asking specifically what a cold call would look like without social media? Like not so much the hey girl in the inbox?
Can Riley unmute?
I can.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi, Riley.
Hi. I just mean like without the social media presence, how do you get that connection without the, hey girl, it's been a while? Like, I just find that so awkward, but then how else do you make that initial grab or connection back? Does that make sense?
I think it's like,
sorry, I was going to say, is there someone you're asking in particular, or would you like to hear from both?
No, anyone.
considering I don't really build online, you know what I mean? Like this may be helpful, but
yeah.
Like, I think it comes back to intention. I think that's the first thing. It's like, what's your intention behind connecting with them? If it's for taking, right? If it's the need, right? Then they're going to feel that and it's not going to land. If it's like a wanting to serve, connect, then they're going to feel that. So the first thing is like, okay, before you pick up the phone, before you text message someone, before you speak to someone, it's like, what is my intention for even doing this? Like, and if you're coming from, let's just call it ego, right? It's like, I want to get a sale. I haven't got an enrollment this month, right? They're going to feel that. But it's like, wow, this person I would really love to get to know and help them in any way that I could. They'll feel that. Right. So that's number one. And it can be simple things like if you know this person and you're wanting to connect with them, maybe on a cold conversation, it's just like, I've been thinking of you, or I saw this the other day and I thought you might like it, or I know this is weird, but there's all these kind of ways that you can kind of start, like, or can you help me with this? Or I've just had this feeling I've needed to reach out for you for some strange reason. I hope that's okay. Just having that open heart as soon as you enter that conversation, and just trust that it will fall in the right space, and not have like a word vomit, but just like either a question or like just one bit at a time, like between that conversation.
You can land on socials too, right? So
yeah.
I started social. I literally have a screenshot of my account. It had 22 followers. It was not big. It was little, right? And it's the same concept on socials as well, right? A lot of people can be like, I've got 50 followers. How do I reach out to a brand? Create connection first. It's the intention of what you're doing. And so like for me online, an important part of my business, which again, I find a lot of people actually don't think through, is my engagement with other people's pages and other people's brands as well. I make time to write to brands on their post. Hey, that's an awesome product you've got. Hey, I've got a question for you. Hey, whatever it might be. And we forget, because that's almost cold calling on the internet, but I'm doing it with a purpose. I'm doing it because I like that brand. I like that product. I've got a question for them, right? And I'm building almost out of a sea of billions of followers. I'm starting to like build out that intention of us having a conversation. They reply to me, you know, we go back forth, whatever it may be. Then I might DM them and they will be like, oh, she's actually been on my Instagram, you know. And so you can actually do that stuff on socials too, regardless of what size account you have. Like, it's actually really interesting. Sometimes it can be a hindrance in a way, actually. Like, just because I've got, say, 24,000 followers, whatever it is, doesn't mean I'm connecting with 24,000 people. Like, I can be connecting with 500 when Instagram wants to be an a-hole. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that is nothing. And so you've got people who have 500 followers and they're connecting with 450 of them on their stories. We have the same reach. You know, so it's really easy to get in your head that people don't want to hear from you, or you can't say like cold DM or whatever because you have a small account or no socials, and you actually can.
Love that so much. I think like from a social media perspective as well, like something that someone once said to me that put things in such huge perspective is that you might think if you're on Instagram that 30 people watching your stories is nothing. But if you had a brick and mortar store and 30 people all walked in at the same time, you would be blown away. And you never know, like with these one person, the impact that one person could have on your business. So I think letting go of the numbers.
Like in Indoterra, it's so important to understand that you know, if you have 30 people watching your stories and you enroll 2 of them or 1 of them that month, that's so freaking amazing. Like, I say to people in my team all the time, like, do you realize you've enrolled 1 person this month? Do you know how many people haven't enrolled 1 person this month? Like, and there are people in higher ranks in this business who haven't enrolled for 6 to 12 months, and you've gone and bloody enrolled 1 person. You're amazing. Like, we can actually do this like one by one, guys. Like, every single like piece of connection and time you make to connect that leads to this growth in your business, and this like you have this like deep desire to share and connect, it will lead you there. And you actually don't need anything but you don't need social media numbers. You actually don't. I literally grew this business with basically nothing. Like, it's wild. You know, I've onboarded, this is so gross. Like, there are definitely people in here who are going to judge me, but like, I've basically onboarded everyone verbally, like in my Blue Diamond team. That's wild. The conversation, having conversation with people is so powerful, and you can be anyone to do that.
Yeah, and for me, something that helps me is like, who can I get myself in front of today?
Yeah.
Who can I make sure sees me today? And it doesn't have to be tens of thousands of people, right? Could be as long as someone is seeing that I'm alive, I exist, and here's my message, I've done my job today.
Yep.
All right, I've got the next question. I'm going to throw this one just to you, Hayley, because I think you'll give a great answer to this. When do you know it's time to let go if you're getting no response and no collaboration and nothing back from someone?
This is a really good question. I would actually ask. I would actually, like, so sometimes I just say, look, at the end of any connection I have with someone, I think a really good point is to preempt the next connection, because then it's not weird when you reach out again, right? So it's having this flow of conversation. It could be in 3 months or 6 months, it doesn't matter, but you've planted a seed when you're finishing a conversation with someone that you're going to connect with them again. So then when you do reach out in 3 months, it's not weird. Okay. So that's step one. Now, if say maybe you've done that with someone and they're not replying and things, just say, look, you know, I'm really here to support you or help in any way I can. But, you know, if these are frustrating you, or if I'm overstepping the boundary, just let me know and I'll stop contacting you. Like, just ask them, and then they'll tell you. They'll actually go, oh, I'm so sorry. I've just been really busy. I've been meaning to get back to you. Thank you so much. It's just not the right time. But yeah, absolutely. Just keep me on the list. Or they might just say, take me off the list. Right? They will tell you. So just ask what they want to do.
I have a girl in my community who was one of my first enrollments, and then she just didn't order for like a year. And like every couple of months I just touch base with her, and I was like, this is getting weird. But like ask myself every time I touch base with her, like, what was my intention? Like, what's my intention here? And I think that's really important. Like, you have to know when you send something or touch base, am I comfortable if this doesn't get an answer? Like, what am I putting out here? And she actually didn't write back to me for a year. And then after a year, she one day I was checking on her again, because I genuinely was like, I hope you're bloody okay. Like, you know, or can I do something for you? And she was like, I've just had the worst year. I'm really sorry. I'd really, really love to jump on LRP now. And she's like my best LRPer. It's honestly, it's so often not about us. Like, I think that's something I've learned in this space is like, if we are really grounded in our intention and we are genuinely, and that's really, really important, if we are genuinely wanting to connect and genuinely wanting to share and genuinely have something to offer people, I never feel salesy. I never feel like I'm overstepping, you know, I because I feel genuine. Like, I know in my heart why I am reaching out to somebody. And that's probably the key to everything, because I have no idea what's happening for anybody else. You know, they might have had a car crash that day, their dad might have died. I don't bloody know. And so I can't make that about me. So it's never about me. It's always about them. And for what it is for me is my intention. I'm working on my intention always.
Sarah, I've got one for you.
Yep.
Beautiful Carolyn Farrow has noticed how amazing your Q&A sessions are. She's noticed they go off. The presence, the way you train your audience. So how did you initiate that process? How did you start that when you didn't have a following and taking it to where you are now? So how can someone initiate that, even if they've got a small following and are afraid they might not get the interaction, or they might offer something and no one takes it up? Like, where does someone start what you do now?
So I think for me, like, my social media journey is a bit of a blur, because like I am like, unlike say someone like Courtney who knows a lot about social media, I know nothing about social media, literally nothing, right? And I've had to like just figure this out as I've gone. And it's been a big journey. And for me, like, I remember, so first thing was like setting up the expectation for people that they knew that every Sunday I would put a Q&A box up. Like, I definitely remember the first couple of weeks or even months, it was like podgy, whatever, right? And sometimes I would get one question or sometimes, but creating that consistency and speaking to it, like I don't ever just chuck a question box up. You'll see that on my page. I'm never like, hey, surprise. You know, people know it's coming all the time, right? And it's often buffered. This is the other thing I find that I can talk about social media all day. And it's something I personally notice about people's socials, right? When you just drop something in out of nowhere with no context, it's like, it doesn't hit. It's like, so it doesn't make any sense to anybody, because again, you've got to imagine your socials like a conversation. I'm not walking past someone in the street like, hey, ask me a question. Like, that's weird, right? And this is the stuff we don't think about. It's so weird. Like, when you're on social media, if there's no context. So like for me, the thing that I started doing was like wrapping stuff, which on social media. So like, you'll see it now. I said this, if you're watching this, you're going to watch my stories and be like, she's wrapping that. I can see what she's doing, right? And I will present information, right, purposefully, that is something that I know people are going to ask me questions on. It might be my political point of view. It might be something about a saucepan. It might be a friggin' some ingredient that I've read and I find it repulsive. Whatever it may be, I'm setting up a space for people to be like, oh, she knows this thing and she has this information. And then, right, I will then go, hey, you know, whether it be the next day in that set of stories, I'll be like, hey, I'm doing a Q&A. Do you have any questions for me? And most times, if you've presented information, someone will have a question for you. Now, that starts to grow. When you start consistently doing this stuff, and giving people a reason to ask a question and almost presenting a little bit less information than you should, like, hey, this air purifier is amazing, but don't give them the brand, as an example, right? Someone's going to text you and say, hey, what's the brand? You can screenshot that text and be like, hey, somebody asked me what the brand is of this air purifier, so I'm now going to tag the brand, and I'm now also going to have a chat to you about why this brand is amazing. And you just opened up a minefield of people to ask you questions, then put a question box up. You know what I mean? So it's really, really important to not just pop it out, but also you've got to set up the expectation on your page. It's for you and for and for your audience. You need to follow through and go every Sunday, no matter what is happening in my world, I'm going to put up a question box and I'm going to tell them and I'm going to show up. And then your customers or your page start to expect that from you. And that was a game changer for me.
I love that so much. And I feel like social media specifically is a topic that we could go so deep on, and perhaps we'll flag that for another call. I'm going to ask one last question because we are just about out of time. How do you get out of a non-enrollment rut?
What was that one?
How do you get out of a non-enrollment rut?
Powerful question.
Oh. I would first ask why I feel like I'm in a rut. Like there's always like, what am I holding myself back for? First and foremost, I'm going to be really honest with everyone. Like it's been a tough couple of years. Okay. Don't feel like anyone's immune to what's happening out in the world right now. And I only realized recently that I was holding myself back from sharing my business and sharing things that I love and selling, because how dare I do that if there's other people out there really struggling right now?
I was about to say, are you selling?
Yeah. Like, and then who posted something today which was so spot on?
Probably Alice about selling in this territory, in this where all the stuff is happening.
Yeah, we need light.
She wrote it way better than that. She wrote it way better than I just said.
So I was actually quoted by, I didn't realize I'd actually said this, and well, I actually did. I did a story post. I used to wake up at sunrise, as Courtney would say. And when the sun was coming up, I'd take a photo of it and I'll put a quote that just kind of dropped in for that morning. It was how I was kind of feeling. And one morning was, shine your bright so light that even those sleeping wake up. And I think the world needs us now more than ever. Right. And so maybe we just have to turn our light back on. And what does that look like for you? And who's that going to attract? And start there. Start with you and how you want to show up and who you want to help. And maybe you were misaligned and that's what slowed you down. Right. But you get a chance to press the reset button and take that opportunity with both hands. Right. And then just jump back in with heart and intention and service.
So I've got something super practical again. It's like my world, right? If I ever feel like I can't enroll or I am not enrolling, for me, it's usually again about me, right? Everything's about us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we're told all the time to not make everything about us, but I genuinely think so much of this business is actually about us, and we're battling ourselves all the time, and we're reinventing and we're changing and we're growing, and we're like, you know, that's how this business works, because the business is people, right? You cannot stay the same. It is literally impossible, right? You have to reinvent. So quite often, if I'm feeling stuck or stagnant, it's because I am stuck or stagnant, right? In my world, what am I doing? Have I read a new book? Have I gone for a walk? Have I started a new exercise regime? Have I taught myself something new? And then once I start doing that, can I then talk about that? Can I then connect with somebody who is doing that? Can I, teach someone that? Like the more I do and the more I keep inventing myself and keep growing myself and you're going to give all that to your business. You're going to give all that to your potential customers. And I think to myself, most often that's where that block is, because we're so focused on not enrolling. We're focused on somebody else, and we can't control what they're doing. I can only control what I'm doing.
So I just want to leave with one last comment, because we're out of time, but I just want to something as well. You're not enrolling because you're not excited enough about the oils anymore. You need to reinvent your excitement about the oils. You've gotten into an oil rut, not an enrollment rut. So if you reinvigorate your passion for the oils again, you're going to go out and share it with everyone. And I'm going through right now.
I was going to add quickly, sometimes as well, people forget to sell the oils as well.
Yes, I thought to ask, have you even asked for a sale?
Yeah,
is there a call to action anywhere?
People can swing the other way, right? People, you see a lot of people who are like all oils, and I personally believe, like in this space and time, social media wise, being all oils is a myth. And that's just my point of view. And a lot of people will disagree, right? I just think we're past the point right now in this modern space where you can just be like a doTERRA wellness advocate on your social pages. We've got to be more. We are all more. We're not just oils. None of us, no one on this call is just oils. Everyone is so much more. We're incredible human beings, right? But also you can miss the mark by not selling. So like, when people hit my page, I want them to know about me, but I want them to know I sell essential oils. That's so important. Otherwise, they'll find somebody else who sells essential oils, because there's so many epic human beings on this call, even just this call, who will sell them essential oils at a heartbeat. So I want them to know I'm amazing. This is what I'm going to offer them. But hey, I sell essential oils. And that's where having that language around, this is my business. This is going to be my work. This is going to change my home. I sell essential oils and I'm so proud of it. Like, it's the best thing ever. Like, they're incredible. I think that's really powerful. That's
and as Emily Wright just said on a call recently, we heal people.
Isn't it the best?
I love that. I love those 3 words. I think also, the other thing that you can do is just, again, create an excuse so that people are attracted to you again, right? And so it might be just, what are the needs out there, or what's the funnest customers that I've enrolled so far, and how did that even come about? What do I want to teach on? And create something that they would want to be a part of,
I hate to do this. I know we want to stay here talking all night, but I'm going to have to shut the gate and send you all into the beautiful evening that's waiting for you, and let you know that we will be here next week waiting for you for the next amazing topic with the next amazing speakers and the next round of phenomenal questions that are going to transform your business. Have an amazing night, everyone. We will see you in 7 days' time.
That was brilliant, 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 brilliant. Thanks, ladies. Hey, guys, just remember, a lot of people were coming into this call kind of fairly towards the end of it. So if you just got in recently, it started 1 hour ago. So it could be just you're a little bit off on your time zones, but check those. So it's 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time that this call will start. So check your local time zones for that, wherever you are in NZ, Perth, wherever you might be. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I've just come up with a fun thing I'm going to do. I'm rolling my cursor around the screen. I'm closing my eyes, and wherever it lands, where did it land? Oh, it landed on Rosaria Sanchetta. So we're going to give a prize randomly to whoever shows up on the call and stays on the call for the whole call on video. So Rosaria, you're going to have to reach out to me. So link up with me send me a Facebook message or something like that. Paul Ovens, OVENS, just like the one you cook in, and I'll arrange to get a nice fun prize to you. So I think nice bottle of something fun to launch this. Frankincense, how about that?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. See you guys next week.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.